Shane Steichen's genius as a head coach has led to Daniel Jones's rebirth in Indianapolis. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Colts, your daily Indianapolis Colts podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you all for making Locked On Colts your first listen today and every day. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your first bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Hello, everyone. My name is Zach Hicks, your resident film nerd of HorseshoeHuddle.com. My partner, Jake Arthur, is a credentialed Crocs on the ground for Roundtable Sports. I had some feedback that people wanted the return of Crocs on the ground, so we're back to Crocs on the ground for you there, Jake. That's what we are.
The sad truth is I just still don't own any Crocs.
I'm buying you some Crocs for Christmas there, Jake, just to fit the bit here. But today, guys, we have just a loaded show for you. We're going to be giving all the praise in the world to Shane Steichen for this turnaround of the Indianapolis Colts. Obviously, it's not just him, but the head coach gets all the scrutiny, and he also needs a lot of the praise when things are going right. So we're going to talk a lot about Shane Steichen today. We're going to talk about breakout players. You know, there are a couple of late breakout players, including a quarterback who a lot of people counted out, including, you know, the two hosts on this show coming into the season. And then we're going to talk about players who need to step up down the stretch. You know, this Colts team is rolling right now. They're 6-1, number one team in the NFL, but there are still some areas that they can improve going forward. So we're going to talk about that to close out the show. But Jake, let's talk about Shane Steichen, the number one coach in terms of odds, I think by FanDuel and most betting sites, to be the first coach fired this season. Some people were saying an in-season firing could happen with Steichen. Now, we never really bought that, but we did agree that this was kind of like a hot seat season for him, especially when he made the choice to go with Daniel Jones over the young quarterback that kind of buys you a little bit more time. And the result is a historically great offense through 7 games. DVOA, I think they're the 10th best offense of all time as of right now. In terms of points per drive, they're sitting up there with the 07 Patriots and what Peyton Manning's Broncos teams and stuff like that. I mean, it is just special stuff we're seeing from this Colts offense. So before we get into Shane Steichen just as a head coach, because I think he's also shown a lot of improvement as a head coach, as a manager of a team, the offensive play designs, the play calling, and putting guys into the right position, Jake, it has just been special this season.
Yeah, and I've really enjoyed seeing the recognition of that across, you and I kind of live on Twitter a little bit, and that's our little echo chamber is, football guys. But to see a lot of the guys who just break down X's and O's all the time, just absolutely gush about what they're seeing on the Colts film, it's number one, it validates what we're seeing because like we watch this team constantly every day. We know what we're seeing from them is different, but nationally from people who make it their livelihood to study tape can't get enough of what they're seeing. And the variety is something we've talked about all season, not just from the passing game, but from the running game as well. There's so many cool things they do in the run game that it's not even just Jonathan Taylor based. It's the spacing. It's who they place where. It's, the personnel packages, 12 and 13, they're using a lot more of that 13 now. It's just really cool to see. And you talked about, historically, they're ranking really high up there. Jonathan Taylor is the only superstar on this offense. You know what I mean? Like those
Quentin Nelson.
Nelson. I mean, among guys that touch the ball, you know what I mean? But I know. The Patriots team, for example, had prime Randy Moss, prime Tom Brady, the run game, Wes Welker, those run games were fine. They had some contributions from tight ends as well. I mean, don't get me wrong, Tyler Warren is on his way, but he still hasn't had that like enormous game yet. So they're spreading the ball around and just deciding what needs to be done at a given moment to get them where they need to go. And they like Shane Steichen has not been stubborn one time this year that I've noticed. And that's something I have noticed over the last couple of years is, God, man, this isn't working. You probably need to bail on it. Or just because this hasn't worked for a drive doesn't mean you need to pull the plug on it. Or relying on plays versus players. I don't have any of those gripes about him this year. And then that's just the X's and O's. Like what he's done as a leader also can't be understated either. This team's dealt with a lot of injuries. That not much turmoil outside of that, but I think the players knowing what to expect from him day in and day out, and now for going on 3 years, him allowing his players to be who they are and for the leaders to kind of hold guys accountable and police things a little bit. I think there's a great deal of trust there. So just from just the entire umbrella of coaching, from X's and O's to managing an organization and people, I think he's doing a killer job.
Yeah, and I really want to get into that a little bit more too, but to just go back to the play calling and the play designing, I just don't know if there's a coach doing it better than the Colts right now in Shane Steichen, where guys are being put into the best position to win. Their game planning is at a very, very high level right now, and just in terms of like the Chargers game, I think this past game was a great example of just what kind of role this Colts team is on, and with when it comes to the coaching, is they had specific things that were just so Charger based where that deep shot to Alec Pierce on 3rd and 17, they know the Chargers want to play cover 3 on passing downs. They know that outside corner they target on that side of the field will attack downhill out of his deep third. So they know the tendency of the player. They know exactly the tendency of the defense in that situation. And that was a play where the Colts probably had in their back pocket all week long saying this is going to be our shot play this week. And why not pull it out on 3rd and 17 when you're backed up and want to keep that drive going? So just little things like that. We're just seeing the perfect answers for the perfect time. They're one of the best short yardage offenses in football. Now having Jonathan Taylor and Quentin Nelson certainly helps, but we saw the RPR design in that 4th down in the red zone where they pulled it out and threw it to Michael Pittman Jr. in the flat. We're seeing a lot of completions in short as well. This Colts team is just rolling in so many ways on offense, and Shane Steichen's the architect of that, where guys are wide open. The running game is perfect. I also want to give credit to his coaching staff as well, though. I don't know the exact roles of everybody in the coaching staff. I wish I did so I could just lay it out perfectly for you guys. But from little bits and pieces that I've picked out over the years, Jim Bob Cooter's passing designs are a huge part of like their play action game, and a lot of their deep passing game comes from Jim Bob Cooter. A lot of their pre-snap motion and window dressing is a lot of Tom Manning influence from his days as an offense coordinator at Iowa State. And a lot of their running game, Tony Sperano Jr. has a big hand in that, much like how the Eagles relied on their offensive line coach over there under Shane Steichen. They rely heavily on Sperano Jr. here. So the coaching staff he's put together has really done a great job in their little segmented roles, as well as coaching their position players up to a really high level. So yeah, this Colts offensive coaching staff and just offensive design has been perfect this year. But to go more so into like the head coaching duties of leadership, like you said, a lot of guys have been held accountable. DJ Giddens, a running back they really like coming into the year, is no longer in the rotation because of his mistakes. The AD Mitchell stuff, I think they've handled it pretty well because other guys have stepped up and played pretty well in that spot. And then in game coaching as well, like how many times have we seen them steal timeouts from opponents this year? How many times have we seen them just outmaneuver opponents with their aggressiveness on 4th down and all these other situations? I think outside of them playing a little bit too conservative at the end of the Broncos game, I think he's been flawless in a lot of this in-game management as well, where we've seen more issues in the past. A lot of the way they've navigated drives before the halftime has been great this year in terms of making sure the opponent's not getting the ball back and making sure we're getting points on the board before the half. So yeah, I think Shane Steichen is the runaway favorite for coach of the year for a good reason. He's doing everything you want out of a head coach, and he's the architect of this historically great offense. Like Daniel Jones was one of the missing pieces. Don't get me wrong. I want to give Daniel Jones all its credit, but Shane Steichen's the architect behind this thing.
Yeah, and can confirm they're very cognizant of not only what their opponents do or are capable of schematically each week, but what their problems are from a personnel standpoint.
Yeah,
they're very well aware of that.
Yeah, I do want to just ask you one quick question because I don't want you to dive into all the conversations you have with Shane Steichen, because as media, there are some conversations that aren't put out there. But are you seeing more of a confident Shane Steichen in a lot of your conversations this year, maybe compared to like the last few years?
I'd say, yeah. And I mean, for good reason, because I think they have all the tools possible to be able to figure out any sort of game plan going into any opponent matchup. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Whatever the opponent does defensively, they have an answer for it. You know, they've got Josh Downs and Tyler Warren are guys that can offer some similar things in the short yardage stuff. Pittman has kind of been allowed to do his thing. Alec Pierce has evolved a bit. And then that has not even mentioned Jonathan Taylor leading the league in rushing. So there's really not much they can't do offensively. And then so they do enter every game confident that they can craft something productive.
Yeah, no, it's just been beautiful to watch. And there's so much more we could say about Shane Steichen, but we do need to move to our next segment here, which is talking about breakout players. Again, when you're 6-1, leading the NFL in terms of point differential and record, like you're the best team in football by all accounts right now, there's a lot of players that have to be breaking out for that to happen. And we have a lot of them on offense and a couple on defense that we're going to talk about here in just a second.
I'm Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos, and this episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus powered by Peloton IQ. This is Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or you're cross-training with your favorite instructors like Alex Toussaint. It's training reimagined to make your workout more personal. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with features that help you plan, stay motivated, and hit peak performance. You can let yourself run, lift, flex, and go while Peloton handles all the rest. Plus, Peloton IQ provides real-time strength coaching, tracking your progress and suggesting weights that challenge you so you can get stronger. Plus, the new movement tracking camera, it counts your reps and corrects your form in real time, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
And Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. And Mazda brings the same intention to how they craft every model. You can just feel the Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to the available Napa leather upholstery. With all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like their players, Mazda sweats every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes relevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Welcome back, everydayers. We are kind of just reflecting on this first 7 games of the Colts season so far. What's gone right? We just talked a lot about Shane Steichen and everything he has been able to do and brought to the table. But obviously, coaching is part of it, but players have got to go out there and execute. And they've got some guys that are doing it at a really high level. So some of these guys, we're going to talk about some guys who are heavily responsible for this, but because of their growth, like there are some guys who are already very well known. So our breakout players are going to be guys who have really kind of taken a step forward and, leveled up the expectations from what was previously held. So we got to obviously start with Daniel Jones, Zach. Like you and I, we did say like there was an avenue for this to be successful, for him to be okay, but it wouldn't look like this. Like we thought maybe a more chilled out Gardner Minshew, or just, I don't even know, just whatever he was in 2022, but it wasn't game changer. Now, like he's not going out there and being Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, but the things he's doing, mentally and with his accuracy and the way he's spreading out the ball and making good decisions, that's been incredibly valuable.
Yeah, and I don't want to go too long on this because we've talked Daniel Jones to death at this point because he's the starting quarterback and he's been the greatest story with this Colts team this year. But, I mean, the things that Daniel Jones is doing this year are stuff that he's never done in his life as a quarterback. I mean, going back to college, like he was not a guy in college who threw for 5,000 yards and went just crazy there at the college level. He was an adequate college quarterback that became a high pick because of his smarts and his IQ and in the projection of him getting better in the NFL. And even in his one breakout season with the Giants, a lot of that was his rushing output. It really wasn't what he was doing as a passer. He was mainly like a check down guy in the passing game. So what we're seeing him do this year in terms of distributing the ball, in terms of making plays when the play breaks down, his pressure to sack rate is the best it's ever been. It's the first time he's been under 10%. It's the first time he's been under like 15% in his career of converting pressures to sack. He's at like 7%, like leading the NFL. Colts are barely sacked because he's avoiding a lot of them back there in the backfield. His big time throw rate's really good. Like, he's doing a lot of big things for this Colts team. So I would really call it a breakout, even though he's my age, he's 28 years old. So like, he's
Too late.
almost 30 years old, and he's breaking out because this is the best he's ever been in his life at quarterback. And he's well deserved of all the praise he's getting. But another big breakout, and I think this is probably the second most important breakout on the team, Jake, Tyler Warren. Like, you and I were high on him coming into the year. You had him with 10 plus touchdowns coming into the year, which he's starting to pick that up a little bit recently. He's starting to get there for you. We were very high on him, but even in our highest expectations, we had him as like 500 or 600 yards receiving, being like the third or fourth option in the offense, but maybe getting a lot of red zone work. He might hit 1,000 yards as a rookie tight end. And he's not the third or fourth option. Like, I know a lot with the Colts, it's 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, but he'd probably be the 1A of that. Like, he's the prime guy in this offense, in the passing game, the guy the Colts want to get in space and let him do his work. Like, he has just been everything for this passing offense. And that's even overlooking how great he's been in the run game with his blocking as well. I mean, Tyler Warren has stepped onto this Colts team, and he's been arguably an all-pro. I don't even know if it's arguable right now. I think through the first 7 games, he's been an all-pro tight end for the Colts. And when you talk about what the Colts needed in this past draft, everything that he has brought is what they needed.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because tight ends, you usually want to give them a little bit of grace their rookie years because it takes a while for even the best ones to develop into what he's become, especially usually not in the first year. But yeah, as a blocker and receiver and just the multitude of things he's being asked to do even without the ball, it's a lot for a tight end to be able to handle, and he's doing it very well. He's leading the Colts in receiving. He's second in the NFL among rookies in receiving, first among tight ends. So, like, he's been super productive. I think it's 4 touchdowns now, and I think he's got one in each of the last 3 or 4 games. So he's been very, very productive. He seems to be the guy the Colts want to dial it up to when they need something. He had those couple of 29-yard catches and runs throughout the game on Sunday. So yeah, he's just been a breath of fresh air, and you can tell Shane has just been waiting to have a tight end that he can use for so long. Because obviously Kylan Granson was Kylan Granson. Mo is very good at what he does, but what he does is not what Tyler Warren does. And then Drew Ogletree's a decent blocker as well. But Shane's been waiting for a guy like this. And I just appreciate the way, you see some unique players come into the league sometimes, and it just feels like they're not being used the right way. No gripes with how Shane's using him.
No, using him in every which way possible for a tight end, and it's been perfect for this offense. 2 more guys on offense before we get to the one that we need to get to on defense as well. Tanner Bortolini and Matt Gonsalves, we were very optimistic on them coming into the year, especially me with Tanner Bortolini. I was all in on his potential. But I expected more growing pains from this duo. It has not been many growing pains on the inside. Like, I'm not saying they've both been perfect. Like, I think they've been above average starters for the Colts this year, but get above average starters out of guys who were rookies last season. I mean, again, Matt Gonsalves is playing a position he's never played before. Right. To come in here and give up very few sacks and pressures. Bortolini these last 2 weeks has looked like an all-pro. I mean, these guys are playing some great football on the interior for the Colts.
Yeah, and I think the most encouraging thing about that is the things we knew about them and assumed they would be good at. It's been really the reverse has been what they've most stood out. Like Matt Gonsalves in pass pro, we thought that would take a bit to catch up, but he's looked pretty good there. And Tanner Bortolini with his strength and drive in the run game, he's an undersized center.
Yeah.
And like explosion and like agility and all that stuff was his game. So he himself even said like he was going to have to find ways to succeed despite being undersized. But both of these guys have been among the best in the league at their positions. I mean, there's probably not a ton of right guards better than Gonsalves right now. And then center isn't necessarily the richest position in the league. So Bortolini is quickly laying claim to one of those higher up spots. Very encouraging again, because we thought it would take longer. And I think the fact that those guys have come in and advanced so quickly and the offensive line has been so good because of it has been a huge reason why Daniel Jones looks great. Shane Steichen looks great. Jonathan Taylor is leading the league in rushing. Like all of this is possible in part because those two guys are ahead of the curve.
Yeah, the Colts are winning in the trenches on offense, and there's one more player we're going to mention in the trenches, but this guy's on defense. A Locked On Colts favorite for multiple seasons, Adetomiwa Adebawore, a guy that we have been pounding the table for. Get him more snaps. He deserves it. He's got the potential. This year, he's finally has a role on defense. He has played 7 games this year, Jake. He's already hit his most defensive snaps in a season already this year.
He's earned it too.
He's earned it. Yeah. Second on the team right now among defensive linemen in pressure rate at 17%, only behind Leatu Latu. His time to pressure rate is second on the team, only behind Tyquan Lewis with 2.73 seconds. Pro Football Focus has him as the 8th highest rated pass rusher in the NFL among defensive tackles. And another one I want to throw out here, he's got a 14% run stop rate in run defense, right? For Pro Football Focus, top 10 among all defensive tackles. Now, his down-to-down efficiency hasn't been as good as like a Grover Stewart or Forrest Buckner in that degree, but he's probably been their most impactful splash play guy on the defensive line this year in terms of his snaps to splash play ratio has just been really, really good for the Colts. And I think he's going to earn even more snaps going forward. So we are finally in that time where Adetomiwa was getting snaps, Jake. Our boy for years. In year 3, we're getting that breakout from him.
Yeah, like his first couple years, I was definitely very optimistic. But truthfully, I came into this season a little lukewarm because I was like, Tommy and Neville Gallimore, I was like, are we going to get into another Taven Bryan situation where someone has to play out of position? And that hasn't been the case. Like, Tommy is making plays regularly. Like, you notice at least 1 or 2 plays a game where he's killed the lineman immediately, like with, I think the swim move is one of his go-tos now. And he gets in the backfield immediately. And if he's not making the play, he's affecting it. That's very regular for him now. And it makes you think he's legitimately good because they're not effort plays where, 4 seconds into the play, he's just there at the end or anything like that. Like, he is making the play happen. And I think that's significant.
Yeah, I would say since week 4, when he really got into the defensive rotation a little bit more, he has been the 3rd best pass rusher on this Colts team. And I think he's only going to get more snaps going forward. But coming up, guys, speaking of that Colts pass rush, we have to speak of areas on this team that need to be a little bit better down the stretch if they want to be a legit Super Bowl contender. A lot of things going right, but a couple things that could go better for this team.
We are in the throes of the NFL season, and FanDuel has an offer that you don't want to miss. All right, guys. So right now, new customers, if you haven't joined yet, you can bet just $5 when you do join, and you'll get $300 back in bonus bets if that bet hits. That's right. Just pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across their entire app. Personally, I love how FanDuel gives me just a ton of ways to play. I've built parlays, tried player props, and even followed live lines during games. I'm not good at any of it, but I have had the freedom to try it all because of FanDuel. It just makes watching football even more exciting when you got a little something riding on the action and you're not watching the team that, kind of dictates your entire mood. Whether you're a casual fan or you just love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Welcome back, everydayers. We are talking about these first 7 weeks of the Colts season. What's gone right? We talked about Shane Steichen. We pointed out a few players who them raising their game has really been a difference maker for this team as well. But there are some players who we need to see a little bit more from the Colts. We like that they're 6-1 and everything. We think they can compete with any team any given Sunday. But for the same reason, we feel they need to be active in the trade market or player acquisition. You never want to be satisfied. You want to keep going. So we think these players need to step it up a little bit. And some of these guys have done well. They just need to show a little bit more. So we'll go with kind of some layups here, Zach. Let's start with rookie running back DJ Giddens and second-year wide receiver A.D. Mitchell. So Giddens, the air was pointing up in the summer. Everyone was talking really highly of him. We even said if Jonathan Taylor, if anything were to happen with him, DJ Giddens could probably carry the run game. We really liked his tape and what he could offer. It hasn't gone well. He's had some gaffes, particularly in the passing game, that just it's caused them to need to refocus on other guys behind Taylor. Luckily, Taylor's become this just almost flawless 3-down back, so they haven't had to worry about it as much. But it's a reason you've seen the Colts try to continue relying on like Tyler Goodson when he's healthy, and now Amir Abdullah.
Yeah, this Colts offense right now is so process oriented in terms of guys need to be complete players. Like, I don't care if your complete game is a 70% of like a star player, whatever. We would rather take a guy with a complete game that's at a little bit lower of a level than a guy who does some things exceptionally well, but other things at a very low level. So that's why we're seeing players like AD Mitchell and DJ Giddens who have these gaps in their game, even though like I think Giddens is a better runner than Amir Abdullah. I think AD Mitchell is a better route runner than Ashton Doolin. These guys are getting benched in favor of those other guys because those other guys have more complete football games. Abdullah's a better pass blocker, pass catcher than Giddens was showing. Ashton Doolin does everything at a pretty solid level, where Mitchell showed those moments of, poor judgment and then the holding on the long Taylor run in the fourth game of the year. So those things are holding those guys back. Luckily, the Colts have high floor guys behind them that can fill those roles, but the goal is for those guys to really fill out their entire game while they're sitting and learning right now. So the benefit of being a young player in the NFL on a rookie contract is you're not really expected to be like this high level impact player until like year 3, year 4. So the Colts had the benefit of just kind of letting those guys marinate a little bit, even if the fan base is proclaiming that we need those guys out there, or vice versa, that we need them cut or something. Let them marinate, let them learn, let them fill out their game. And if they can, then they also bring those high-end traits that we like. So luckily the Colts aren't hurting too much, but it would be nice to have them fill out their game and be impact players down the stretch.
Yeah, always good. It's not hurting the team that those guys aren't where they need to be. The Colts luckily have that luxury, but it is what it is. Now, an area that just really, really, really needs to step up is the pass rush. Now, some stats have been going around this morning where they're getting there. The pass rush is getting there eventually. The success rate there actually ranks pretty high, but the actual finishing of the play and coming up with sacks, it's not there. And you and I have kind of talked about this a little bit recently. They're not really winning quickly is part of it. Like they're winning eventually, but they're not beating guys right away and getting to the quarterback. The quarterback is getting pressured, but he still has just enough time to get rid of it.
Yeah, I think the bigger concern is just the edge room. I think the interior defensive line room has been great. All 4 players, I think, have produced above expectation as pass rushers, especially with Adetomiwa's breakout that we're seeing on the interior. But the edge room just needs to win quicker. That's a real thing because Leatu Latu is getting a lot of pressures this year, and he's made those impact plays, getting those interceptions on the back end as well.
Yeah.
But I think his time to pressure rate is like almost 4 seconds this season. Like we just need quicker pressures from the Colts edge room. And it is kind of hard to navigate sometimes because when you go against a Herbert, when you go against a Cam Ward, you want to keep them in the pocket. So it's more so about displacing and then keeping those guys in the pocket. But in other situations, like against like Geno Smith and other quarterbacks or other areas where they can really pin their ears back and get after it, we're not seeing the quickest wins from the edge rush room. Tyquan Lewis has had a couple, but outside of him, Leatu Latu is mostly like on counters in like second or third moves. Kwity Paye, if he gets there at all, it's like a third move or a stunt. He's getting in there on some stunts, but the Colts really just need like an alpha edge rusher that can win quickly with their first move. And that's really what they haven't had this year. And when you can't run press man on the back end because your cornerback room is so depleted and you can't delay those throws and disrupt routes, it leads to the ball just getting out before your pressure is going to get there. So you either got to win quick to allow your defense to play zone on the back end, or if you're going to win late, you have to have the press man on the backside. So that's kind of where the issue is right now. The Colts can't do both because they have depleted cornerback room and edge room that's not winning quick enough. So something's going to break eventually. They're going to need to add somewhere there, or they're going to need someone to step up. Like, I think Latu's had a good season. Like, I don't want to sit here and say he's been bad this year by any means. I just want him to win with his first move more often. That's more of the concern right now is outside of the Rams game where he won a lot with his first move because he was getting jump setted and he was able to quickly just get the hands off and go. We haven't really seen him win with the first move. Like he really struggles against vertical sets winning with the first move. And that's going to be something that has to change if the Colts want to have success this year. More
Yeah.
success this year. They're 6-1.
Right.
More success this year. I want to addendum to that there.
Never satisfied. No, but I mean, totally unrelated. I wonder what Max Crosby's up to right now, but I don't know. That's just me thinking out
he's
loud,
chilling with $100 million in Vegas right now. You think he wants to leave?
Absolutely not. All right. So next up, now this guy, he hasn't had a bad season either. Zaire Franklin, his tackling numbers, not so much the volume of them, but the efficiency of them and like not missing tackles and stuff. That's been as good as it ever has. His efficiency there has been the best of his career. But we've seen him throughout his career as a starter over, 3 or 4 years, added new things to his game. And then he became a guy who, not at Shaq Leonard's level, but like was really forcing turnovers at a high rate. And it was super valuable to the defense. Now this team, they're still getting turnovers every game and everything. But if you're going to be a bend but don't break unit because of how depleted you are, you probably need more splash plays, and a real opportunity there is Zaire Franklin creating more of those.
Yeah, you said not at the Shaq Leonard level, but honestly, last year he was close to a Shaq Leonard level. He had 3 interceptions and 5 forced fumbles last season. That's pretty darn good. Yeah. And that's really my biggest thing with Franklin. I think the tackling has been good this year. I think the run defense has gotten a lot better in recent weeks. And yeah, he gets a lot of hate for pass coverage, but in the modern NFL, unless it's a Fred Warner, your linebackers are going to be average at best in pass defense. So much of NFL offenses are built to go after linebackers. I mean, there was one big catch he allowed to Gadsden on a play action, I remember, where he was in great position. The ball was just so perfectly thrown by Justin Herbert. And he had the great play in Tampa too, late in the game as well. So I think Franklin's been pretty solid this season. I just want to see more splash plays from him. And when you're getting, and look, I don't think it's unfair to ask that when you're getting paid what he's getting paid, where it's you're bringing some really good play this year, but let's get some splash plays. Let's get some turnovers. I think that's the last thing he needs to step up. And then once he does that, I think a lot of the concerns we have with him will kind of dissipate a little bit.
I think that's fair. At his pay rate, you probably need a little bit more than what you're getting, which is already productive. But
yeah, just give me the splash. Look, Grover Stewart's giving me the splash plays. I need some from you now, Zaire, and it will be good.
Yeah, I have one more quick one before we wrap up, and this is just me being picky. But Anthony Gould from the return game. Now he's one of the actual more productive kickoff returners. Hasn't returned. I think he's returned he's got one more return than he does fair catch so far as a punt returner. You haven't seen a lot of impact there. And then as a kickoff returner, we've seen both Ashton Dulin and Amir Abdullah kind of outshine him a little bit. And again, it's not that he hasn't been good at it, but there are teammates of yours making more plays in that department than you are. So it's the reason you're in the position you're at as the kickoff return specialist. I mean, let's get some more big plays, both as a punt and kickoff returner. I mean, special teams returns is always the biggest X factor. I mean, it was huge when Abdullah got that big return that he got on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're fair to say that, especially in the punt return game. I think that could stand to be a little bit more explosive, force some more missed tackles and create some more big plays. That's how you turn the tide of games in terms of momentum and just stealing points on opponents. So yeah, I'm with you. I think they could be a little bit better there. I think they've been solid, especially with Goulds that have been just solid, but I want to see a little bit more than solid. I'm greedy. We're 6-1 right now. I want the special teams to be as good as the offense going forward.
Exactly. You gotta find these little areas where they can get a little better and make a difference. And that's one of them.
Yeah. And then the last one, I think if we had to add another one about where they need to get better is health at cornerback. I think that, I don't know who we need to talk to get that happening, but yeah, getting Charvarius Ward back, I think would be massive for this team. Getting Jalen Jones back, even at this point, just somebody back, getting another body in here. I don't know, just more bodies at corner, I think could certainly help this team. But that's all we have for today, guys. We want to thank you all for making Locked On Colts your first listen today and every day. The NFL season is here, so for your next listen, get a double dose of the Locked On NFL podcast. Tyler, the Madman Rowland, gives you a double shot gives you a shot of espresso to start your football day, while Tony Wiggins takes you into the barbershop for the smoothest breakdowns to end the day. Find Locked On NFL on YouTube where we listen to your podcast. If you guys want to become a Locked On Colts insider and chat with us directly and get that insider scoop, follow the link in our show notes. And if you don't already, make sure you're following at Locked On Colts, at Jake Arthur NFL, and at Zach Hicks 2, all on socials. Also subscribe to us on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. We'd love your guys' ratings, reviews, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow afternoon, and tomorrow night for the Colts Squad Show. So we'll get you guys back here twice tomorrow.